So the stream is just me typing, kind of. There's less of a delay than I thought there was. Rachel is nodding from behind the camera. Are you going to be on the live stream, Rach? No. Are you sure? We can't even put it as a stretch goal. Okay. So what's going on? We just got this. This will be coming up soon. Reflorestation. Is that how you say it? Yeah, reflorestation. It's going to be a Kickstarter. There's been a lot of Kickstarters, but that's kind of not been... It's not been planned. It's just everything kind of happened at once. And there's been a lot of Kickstarters in a short space of time. But there's a lot from the UK Games Expo that's coming as well. I think Subterra, that didn't upload, but that's coming soon. This, hopefully, in a couple of days, because it's on Kickstarter now. So you should check it out. If you liked Scrumpy that I was talking about in the UK Games Expo report, then this is the same designer, Paul Harris. And he's on Kickstarter now, but it hasn't got any videos yet, so hopefully we'll sort that out. And what else is happening? We played Gloom of Kilforth a little bit. We've kind of had a little practice on it, but we need to go back and have a proper session because it's going to take a lot longer than we had today. And it's too sunny to be thinking about Gloom of Kilforth. You can go now if you like, Rach. It's all set up.
Should do the badge.
Oh yeah, that's me. Just give me the thing. 'Cause it's already attached into it. Then I don't have to put a... I don't have to try and put a badge on. I can just put my... So the press thing can be a bit low, so it's not like I've got a big head. There we go, there's badges. There's the badge. You can't really see it. You can see it. People can really zoom. This is going to be HD, 4K. People will be able to zoom in on that and see exactly what it is. It's a badge that Gertie gave me for Friends and Foes, which is a board game cafe in the Netherlands. And it entitles you to some things, I think.
A nice cup of tea or coffee.
Yeah, this has been the first year that we went for longer, and I think we'd only gone for a few years on a few hours on a Saturday, and we just did a bit of shopping and then went away, and then we were there for the whole weekend this year, and still didn't have enough time to do anything. We didn't see any shows or anything. Like, probably would have gone to the top 5 thing, the Dice Tower, and some other shows. We didn't really look into them because we were just trying to race around trying to get demos of everything, and there's just no time. So Rich is carrying Marty away so he isn't disturbing anything. You're going to try and put him in? There we go, there's an angry cat on now. Hello. But yeah, next year at the Games Expo, the UK Games Expo, we're going to stay in a hotel. We've booked a hotel. We went on, I can't remember the website, but there are websites where you can book a hotel and then you don't have to pay until you leave and you can cancel at any time. So if we change our plans or anything like that, we can just cancel and it doesn't cost us any money. But for now, we're hoping to stay there for the whole weekend because as well as all of the stuff that's in the day at the expo that you haven't got time for, then everyone can get together and play games and hang out at night, and there's more things that go out at night. That what was that thing called? Was it Atlantis? That was F. Corona Lane at No Pun Included. It was in their expo report where you're pretending to run a starship. Everyone's got different battle stations on the starship, and someone's the captain and the navigator and everything. That was happening at night as well, so there's a lot that you can do if you were staying, past the times of the expo. I better get rid of my phone and tell it to stop disturbing me. But yeah, the bring and buy, I thought it was better on Friday this year, because we went last year and thought it was a bit disappointing. It's really, really cramped in there just because everybody wants to be in there. And some of the games, there's a lot of there's a lot of asking new prices for used games that's a bit confusing, or even over new prices. But that's just what people want to sell their stuff for. We went on the Friday. It's the first time we've ever been on a Friday. We went to the Bring and Buy, the first thing, to drop our stuff off, and the games that must have been from really early arrivals, or maybe they were from exhibitors from the day before or something. They had some great games, and we didn't really want any. We either had them or weren't interested, but there was loads that we could walk past that were really, really reasonably priced, or really cheap, that you thought, I don't really care about playing this, but like Thunderbirds, I'm not sure if we'd end up liking that, but it was about £20, so you'd think surely you'd take a chance on it. But it's good to try and get in there early, it seems, before it gets just flooded with people. And if you're dropping things off as well for the Bring and Buy, you can kind of just sneak in and go and look at the stuff to buy as well. Hi from Slovenia. Hi. How are you? I'm having a drink of water. It's really weird. I thought the delay was a lot bigger on these live streams, so I can kind of see myself a couple of seconds behind from what I'm actually doing here, and it's really weird. It was crazy busy on Saturday. Yeah. Saying it's too busy to get in any games. Yeah, I think you've got to you either got to get there first thing, like on a Sunday. On the Sunday we realised our time was running out, and we just went straight to a nice cup of tea on the Sunday because I thought we don't want to leave without having played that, so we just made it a mission to get there, and luckily we were the first there. And everything else was kind of like Kitchen Rush. We didn't get a chance to play it. We did watch some people play it, and I've seen Rado's run through for it, so I know it's a game that I want. But the games were running for about half an hour, and there was always at least a group waiting, which is, it's all these things are great because of how busy the games are and how interested people are in the games. But if we stood there waiting, and then we wouldn't have as much time to go and do all the other things that we needed to do, because we kind of said, we'll be back soon to all of these things, and we can be there at this time, we can go and film this game. And it turns out, no, there's no time for any of these things. Once you've demoed just a few of these games, like Sunday, it was the order that I did them in that video, that took up a lot of the day. Just doing nice cup of tea, and then what did we do? Gods of Atlantis was nearly an hour as well, and then City of Kings. Even though we just had a quick run through, there's so much going on in these games that once they've explained all of the new things, once Frank had run us through the City of Kings, that was another big chunk of time. And it's just too many games. You need more people. We need some kind of big Slickerdrips organisation for people to go and check out these games. But I want to see them. That's the whole point. North Wales. It's quite exotic. Yep, the button. I don't know. I really liked Essen. I think maybe it's just because it's built up and it's the huge thing. And UK Games Expo, I liked how it was on Friday and kind of Sunday, but especially Friday, when everyone can just kind of walk around and there's plenty of space, and there's a good chance of maybe getting into a game or looking at the stall. The big shops like Thirsty Meeples and Games Law on the Saturday, it was just there was just hordes of people trying to seek out all of those bargains, which is fair enough. I want to see the bargains as well. But there's no space on a Saturday to move even. And I suppose that's a good thing, but it would be nice if it was a bigger area. I'm not sure what they're thinking of doing. I think they're tied in to the Hilton somehow, so they have to stay in there. But there is much more space to play games. There's a whole library, isn't there, that we didn't really go in after the press preview, where you can hire the games out from Thirsty Meeples. You get a library card, I think, and then you can just play games from there and presumably just stay there all day. And there was a playtest area as well where there probably would have been even more games. Super Hot and Pocket Mars. Excited to play them. We haven't got around to those yet. Did we play Super Hot? I think we started playing Super Hot, and we had to end it before we'd really got into a game. But a friend of mine's played Pocket Mars and really enthusiastic about it. And I'm looking forward to it. We got those two. I should put the vote up as well. I'm going to do a vote for how for the games that people want to see the most from the expo. It's because I'm pretty excited about all of them really. So it's up to what you want to see. I'll get that poll put up later. It's not going to be anything to do with the Kickstarter because that's still going on for until Wednesday. So if you haven't checked it out yet, then Kickstarter, there'll be links all over the channel. There's a video for you that'll take it there. Yes, it was very noisy, so we had to stop playing Super Hot. Hi, Torsten. How are you? Yeah, there was. I think we had to stand outside waiting because the Women's Masons convention was going on. We had to kind of wait around until the room was opened on Saturday. But then it was so busy in the room and it was so noisy because people are having fun playing games. Nothing against that. But it was hard for us to get anything going, so we just moved on. I went back to the busy halls. Yeah, the Hilton was where we went on Friday as well to when we played with F. Crenna Lane, and it was really nice in there. It was probably only about half full in the room that we were in, even though they didn't have that many rooms open in the day. It was probably only about half full. It was nice and well, not quiet, but nice and reasonable to play some games in. Whereas Saturday, it's just packed. But some people might like that more. Might like the atmosphere of a Saturday more than the quiet Fridays. I am fine. I am thirsty though. It's very, very hot, which is a strange thing to say. It's something I wouldn't normally say in England. But yeah, what have we played from? I don't think we've played too much from the expo yet. We played Barcelona, The Rose of Fire. I played that with a friend, and that was really interesting. I didn't really know that much about it before we played it. I just knew the theme of it when I mentioned it in the preview. But that's a really good game. You have cards that let you lay certain coloured tiles out or certain levels, and you can put rich buildings out that will annoy the workers, that will put workers on strike. But you need those for the points. But you want to put the cheap buildings out that the workers can live in to make them happy. But at the end of the game, they're not going to be worth many points unless a revolution happens, which can happen if you keep just building rich houses and playing these event cards that come out. You can end up making a revolution happen either on purpose or by accident, and then from that point on all of the scoring is flipped, so all of the poor buildings are now worth the most points because the poor people have revolted and now they're in charge. I thought that was really cool. What is the best thing on Kickstarter right now? My campaign? No. I don't know. What is currently running on Kickstarter? What have I got saved? Let's go over to my Kickstarter profile. Saved projects. Now, I don't save that much because I know that I haven't got... I can't afford most of the things. I was interested in Deep Space D6. A lot of things have just ended. Like Role Player. I desperately want to play Role Player, and it just had a Kickstarter for its expansion, which is great, but I can't afford that much to... Especially, it would be nice to get the game and the expansion in one big go, but it's too much to take a chance on. But hopefully we'll get a copy of Role Player one day. We'll cross paths with it one day, because everybody's saying that it's really good. I saw some kind of discussion on Board Game Geek about is it too similar to Sagrada, but I don't know. I think it looks really cool, and the idea of making your own RPG character by rolling these dice and trying to get the puzzle of the attributes, it seems really cool to me. I've lost the page with the chat on it. Oh dear. That wasn't a very good idea at all, was it? What else is on Kickstarter? Yeah, as I said, pretty much everything's finished. Reforestation is on Kickstarter, as I mentioned, but I haven't played it yet, so can't really say much more about it. But there was a really good game there was a really good looking game that Rado did. Yeah, probably check out Rado's stuff for the latest Kickstarters at the moment. There was one he did. I'll try and find the name of it. YouTube Rado. He did one about these traders, and it was a kind of a deck builder where you use dice to get them. What was that called? Oaxaca. Oaxaca. He's got a run through for that, and the Kickstarter page looked really nice for that. Oh, Helionox is on Kickstarter. Yeah, how about I think about Kickstarters that I've done videos for. I really like Helionox. I think it's a really cool, different deck builder. That's on Kickstarter right now. But yeah, there's a load of stuff that apparently I haven't saved. I try and avoid the things so I'm not tempted to, press pledge on them in the end. Now, where's the chat window? Did I play Seize the Bean? No, I forgot. And I was reminded, yeah, there's loads of things that I missed out on at the expo altogether as well. Like I didn't go to Inspiring Games and talk to the guys at Legends Untold and see the new art and everything for it, and a few other things. I didn't go over and see Scuttler's Island and see how Toby was doing on that. There's plenty of things where I'd really intended to and then completely forgot. Like some things where we ran out of time, like why didn't we play Caverna Cave versus Cave or Barron Park? It was just time. We couldn't afford to stand there waiting too long and miss out on other games there. But some things like Seize the Bean just completely forgot to go over there altogether. And I think they commented on one of the report videos or the previews or something, saying that we're glad to be on the preview, and then suddenly I remembered we forgot to go over there altogether. And hopefully, I've asked them to keep in touch because I am really interested in the game. I wanted to see how it played because I don't really know that much about it other than we're running coffee shops and it seems to have some nice components. Other than that, I don't really know much about it, but it seems really intriguing, and I think they'll be at Essen. I'm not sure what their plans are for release, a schedule for their release, but hopefully we'll get to see it at Essen. Hopefully we'll get to Essen in the stretch goal as well. I think we're quite close on the Kickstarter, aren't we? Did I play Orleans Trade and Intrigue? Haven't played it yet, no. That was one of the ones that I had to leave off. It was on my list to pick up at Essen, but I just ran out of money before I got far enough down for Orleans Trade and Intrigue. Really interested in the trade part, where if I remember right, it's adding little missions where you can pick up and deliver along the way, as well as all of the normal stuff in Orleans. Yeah, I am still really interested in it, and I've seen that the TMG version's just come out as well. I saw some people tweeting from Origins about that. But yeah, more Orleans is always a good thing for me. I don't think we use much of the Intrigue stuff. It seems like they replaced what's the board called? I can't remember. The board where you send people off to. They replaced that with, instead of getting rewards, you can mess with people now. You can steal things from people or shut down people's buildings, something like that. Not interested in that at all, but it's cool that it's there. Maybe it'll open Orleans up to people that didn't really want to give it a chance before. I looked for Barron Park, but it had sold out. Yeah, we saw it at... I think I ended up cutting this out of the video because the UK Games Expo report was really long. But yeah, we went to Thirsty Meeples. We kind of weaved our way all the way through the halls, and then Thirsty Meeples were right at the back. And we saw one copy on a shelf, and someone just got there first. And I think it was about £24. They were probably German copies if shops had them already. And we knew that the... Mayfair Games booth, we'd asked them and they were saying kind of in an hour we have some, they're coming. And we waited around and heard more rumours about when it would come, and then when it finally did arrive, it came and it was £42, which seemed a huge jump from £24. But now it's out. I think did it come out this week in England, I think, and the RRP is £42, so I suppose that's fair enough. It seems a bit expensive. I haven't got the game or seen all of the components in it or anything though, so I'm kind of just speculating there. But there are shops selling it for about 30 or something like that. Hopefully, I did order one, but there was a problem with the distributor and they didn't have enough copies, so I'm just waiting for that. Hopefully, I'll get a copy because I do really want to try that out. I've heard conflicting things about Barron Park as well. I don't know if anyone's played it. I've heard conflicting things. Some people saying that it's what they wanted Cottage Garden to be because Cottage Garden was too light. But then I've seen other people at the same time saying that it's even lighter than Cottage Garden. Not necessarily in a bad way, but hearing conflicting things about it. You can skip the intrigue part. Yeah, I'd do that. Because there's things in all of the expansions, isn't there, where it's kind of turn it on and turn it off element. That's one of the things that's one of the downsides of Orleans now that it's had all of these expansions and promos and things, that it's kind of hard to work out how it all fits in, because it's not just, if you want to play the invasion co-op mode, it's not just, okay, include these things. It's you you take certain things out, but are the promos included in it, and are these new things included in it? How does this expansion fit into it now? There's a bit of there's an extra bit of admin when you're setting up all the on now, which is a bit of a downside, but at least it's got all of these shiny new things on it. Also, you should play Yokohama. We have played Yokohama once. I think we played it last week. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I saw the no pun included video just before we got our copy. They were enthusing about it for ages and ages about how good it was, and then at the end they're saying it's not as good at 2 players. So I wouldn't know if it would be better with more players. But with 2, it was really good for me. I suppose they were saying that it was easier to get to places and much easier to get the technology cards in a 2-player game. I can see that it wasn't particularly hard for us to get anywhere. It might have been a bit harder for Rach because she refuses to go on spaces if she has to pay me money. Favorite dudes on a map games? I don't know. Have we got many dudes on a? We don't really have many dudes on a map games. I suppose Roombound is a dude on a map. I could just look at myself, couldn't I? I could keep facing you and look at the screen and look at the games behind me that way. Yeah, we don't really tend to have that many dudes on a map. Adventureland? I'm not sure if they count. We did have Arkham Horror for a while. That was like one of the very first ones that I got anyway, before I was ever properly into board games. That's technically there are dudes on a map. I think generally it's people fighting on a map. I'm not sure, or is it literally just dudes on a map? Because we've got loads of them. But yeah, Roombound's probably the closest, I think. But we only ever play it cooperatively, and we haven't played it for quite a while actually. Yeah, I suppose if we expand the definitions of dudes and maps, then we've pretty much most of our games are dudes on some kind of map. But I think, thinking of traditional maps, the only thing that springs to mind is really Roombound. I can't see the games that are on the other set of shelves from here, but I'm trying to think of, like, generally we don't have them, and yeah, I can just think of Roombound really. Project Elite, maybe? Yeah, there's a map. We are playing as these agents. There's aliens coming at us. That's probably a close thing. See, now I'm just looking. This is just a video of me looking behind myself. Yeah, I think that they're probably the ones. We haven't really got that many. Like I said, we did used to have Arkham Horror, and I used to play that with my friends, like as 6 or 7 player games that took all day. I don't know how we did that now. It's strange. I was thinking of when we are talking about games and I'm saying that it's got too much dice rolling or roll to resolve in it now for me. Whereas I definitely wouldn't have said that right in the beginning when I was so into Arkham Horror. I would have loved more and more roll to resolve. But it's just as you get to find new games, you get to find the ones that you like. Favourite Dominion expansions? Well, there's a few that we haven't got. I don't think we've got Alchemy and Hinterlands and a few other ones. We've got most of them though. I really, really like Empires because of the, landmarks, where it gives you the conditional scoring things at the end of the game, so it can give you points for having for every type of card you've got at least 2 copies of, or it will lose you money for every copper that's still in your deck. I like that because like in every game where they've got those kind of objectives, it will give you a little guide, and the main thing in Dominion anyway is the market cards, and you're trying to work out what your optimal path is through the cards that are available. It's just nice having the extra thing to think about with those landmark cards, because they can really make a big difference at the end as well. And the what are they called? The event cards. They aren't new to Empires, but we've never played the Adventures one that started with them. So I really like those as well, where they can start earning you victory points if you buy the events, or there's ones where you can get gold for cheaper, but you'll have to have some downside. And the loan tokens as well, where you could get really superpowered cards, but it's going to stop you buying cards until you've paid off all your loans. Might be Empires, but I do like Prosperity. I like Prosperity for the Platinum cards and the even bigger victory points card. I like the escalation in that of just making everything more expensive and flooding you with gold a little bit. But we tend to just throw all of it. It's all in boxes, and we have the app, whichever app it is we use, and we just, whenever we play Dominion, tell it everything that we've got and just let it shuffle as a random thing together. I think when we get an expansion, we'll play a game with just stuff from that expansion, but after that, it just all gets thrown together when we get something random made out of it. Did you have a rating for Clans of Caledonia? I haven't really rated my games very much. There's a few random ones on my profile, but I think if you look on that, I've got some kind of collection written down on there. I need to sort that out before Wednesday, really, because as soon as people get their executive producer votes, there's people that have got votes where they can just say a game, and people can request all of the games that are in the collection as well. I need to sort that out, but I generally don't rate the games that I've got. What is the system on Board Game Geek? I'm trying to get onto a game page now so I can remember the ranking system, and I can just pull a number out of thin air, because there's a weird thing on Board Game Geek, isn't there? Of 6, okay, we'll play if in the mood. 7, good, usually willing to play. Definitely 7. 8, very good, enjoy playing and would suggest it. I'd say that's true of Clans of Caledonia. Excellent, very much enjoy playing. Well, they're pretty much the same. It hasn't got all of the stuff before of like, I would always suggest this, or I would never turn down a game. I don't know, it'll be 8 or 9 probably, but I'm a very bad rater. I'm not very... I would love, that's what I used to love going on Rado's ranked page, and you can see he's made all of the decimal points because all of the games are compared against each other. I'd love to do something like that, but it's not really the way I think. Like when I have to think of favourites for things, when I have to do the top 10s, it's agonised for way longer than it should be. But yeah, I'd say it's a really good one, Clans of Caledonia. I really, really liked it. Do you limit your games collection? Get rid of old ones? Not really. Yes, kind of, because of the space. All of the shelves are full. There's another set of shelves on the other side of the room. Everything's full. There's a table with piles of games on it. The UK Games Expo, getting some games back from that has made more piles of games. But generally, I try to get rid of stuff. Like the last time I went through all of the games just before the expo to bring back to the bring and buy, I did make some decisions where I thought, well, I kind of still want this. I don't want to sell it, but I just need money to keep getting the new games, and there's just not enough room for all of these games. Like some of these games that are kind of hanging out and on the shelf probably still have to go. We need a shelf for Gloomhaven. It's never ever been on a shelf. Yes, Rachel isn't pleased that there's games everywhere. She would like it tidy in the living room, but there's games. It's for the channel. That's my excuse now. But I do get rid of old ones. I sold a lot at the bring and buy. I was surprised how much went at the bring and buy. I tried to do the maths trades, which I started doing last year. I don't do them, but I participate in them is what I mean. I really like the maths trades. I didn't do this one because I forgot. I didn't realise until it was the day of submission, and I didn't have time that day to submit my games to it. But maths trades are really good, and I sell on the Geek Market as well. I've had a lot of games from the Geek Market in the past as well. You don't have to pay much commission, and anyone can go and look at what you've got available. In your UK Games Expo video, you mentioned being interested in MOBA games, but the game you played at the Expo didn't really scratch the itch for you. Have you tried Rum and Bones? We haven't. We haven't tried any games that are simulating it. Is Arcadia Quest a similar thing as well? I've never really been that interested in them because I know that in general we don't like conflicting games and fighting each other. So like in the MOBA, when we play League of Legends, it's not a problem because we are on the same team. So, there's fighting each other isn't a problem. But in all of these games, especially if it was just the two of us playing, then you can't be on the same team, presumably, unless Rum and Bones and these things have cooperative play. I haven't looked into them at all, so you'd have to let me know. But yeah, I thought it was kind of at the back of my mind when we were thinking about Gods of Atlantis that I really wish that I would like this because it sounds really interesting, but I've got a bad feeling that when we go over to play it, I'm really just going to have that feeling of the there's way too much fighting in this, which seems like a stupid thing to say. It seems like a stupid criticism of a game to say there's too much fighting in a fighting game. But yeah, that's what we thought. So unless they end up making one that's cooperative, and I don't know if they will, because it seems like there would be a lot of admin to sort out in a cooperative version of any of these games. But if they ever did, I'm interested. I'm here. Dominion is the one game all my workmates love playing. I really, really love Dominion. It's fantastic. Yeah, Mysterium. We haven't played Star Wars Carcassonne. I played normal Carcassonne. And Carcassonne the Castle, which is a 2-player version of it. That's really, really good. And Codenames. Yeah, we want to play Codenames Duet. We didn't get a chance to play that at the expo. That's got it's cooperative Codenames now. Really want to see how that works. And there's like a special campaign mode. I don't think it's full on story based campaign, but there's a way of playing a series of games that's especially had 2 players in mind to make it more interesting for 2 players. Should I turn the bottle around? Is that product placement? Morrison's haven't given me any money to mention that water. In your opinion, would Clans of Caledonia be worth a purchase for solo play only? I think so. I struggle with that question a lot of the time, and I need to reply to someone's comment that's just reminded me. Yeah, if you've ever sent me a message or commented on something and asked a question and I haven't replied to it, it's probably because I've forgotten. It's probably because I saw it and thought I will get around to that in a second, and then something happened. So ask me again. But Clans of Caledonia, I think so, because you've got, I'm trying to remember all of it now. You've got the shipping bonuses are going to be different every time. The map is going to be a bit different every time. The scoring round by round is going to be different every time. And on top of that, there's the standard things of the, the contracts are going to be a bit different. But I think just that structure of having all of those round by round scoring, I can't think of the word, scoring tiles. Yeah, so you can kind of start planning ahead throughout the game. And this is true not in the solo game, but even though it hasn't got an AI, I felt when I was playing solo that there is enough to be thinking out. There's enough to be working out of, okay, next round it's this scoring, and oh, that scoring came out really early last game. It's come out really late this time, so I'll have more of a chance to do it and try and try and build something up and get more points off it. Whereas if some things come out really early, you haven't got much of a chance, and you need to maybe get a couple of points out of it. But I do think there's a lot in there, and people asked a lot around the time of AIs and things for the game, and I don't know how you'd even start implementing an AI or anything into a game, but I think that would be really cool if it had that as well. I do think there's enough in there of the AI player just takes up a space, doesn't he? They take all of the cheap one money spaces, they take those away from you, and you have to kind of build around that, but you don't get any of the neighbouring bonuses and things. It would be really nice if there was an AI, so you could, at the very least, so you could use those neighbouring bonuses, because you get to buy, like say the enemy's got a cheese factory and you a dairy farm. So if they've got a dairy farm, you can build your thing next to it, and because you've built whatever next to it, you now get to buy some cheese, up to 3 I think cheese, for a big discount, because you have put that neighbouring bonus next there. So it would be cool if that was in the solo game as well, but I do think it's really good for solo without any of that. Games everywhere, yes. Favourite Bruno Cathala game? What have we got by Bruno Cathala? I have a feeling that it might be not that popular an opinion, but I really like SOS Titanic. Is that Bruno Cathala, or am I thinking of somebody else? So Seven Wonders Duel, not played. Yamatai, I want to try Yamatai. The downside I've heard about Yamatai was it has the 5 tribes 2-player thing where you can potentially have a load of turns in a row, and that was a really annoying thing in 5 tribes. Since mainly we play 2-player, we do have exceptions to that, but generally we play 2-player. So when there's a bit of a weird 2-player variant, Dice Stars I really like. Probably not my favourite though. He's got 12 pages of games. King Domino we have to try. That's an upcoming game, but I haven't tried Abyss. I think is SOS Titanic him? He's got too many games to scroll through this page. Yeah, Five Tribes really enjoyed. Apart from, as I said, the 2-player thing. When we played a game at a higher player count of it, it was much better. But yeah, it might be SOS Titanic. I really, really like SOS Titanic. I know it is just Patience, Solitaire, the card game, with a few little tweaks in it, but it might be the theme. You know, I used to be obsessed with the story of the Titanic when I was a kid, or maybe the flip book where you flip over as the ship's sinking. But despite I can see people's criticisms that it's just Solitaire, but I really, really like that. But I think scrolling through, it's probably that. Let's go back to the questions. Do you have an upper limit complexity-wise? Yes, but I don't really know where we would put it. How do you feel about games from Splotter or Phil Eklund? I have never tried one. I've heard about them. I've heard about Phil Eklund games being very, very accurate simulations of very, very complex things, but they have very, very impenetrable rule books, and the games themselves are incredibly complex. I've never really felt the need to try one. Splotter games, they've sounded interesting. I think Antiquity sounded really interesting, and hearing about these things is really cool. But I don't know. We don't, as I said, we don't really play games with much conflict in them, and the Splotter games seem like they would have a lot in them. Like I'm right in thinking Food Chain Magnate's a Splotter game, right? Magnate, not Magnet. There seems to be a lot of conflict just built into the games because they tend to be these big, building a thing on the map games, don't they? You're building your food chain, you're building your civilization in Antiquity, but we don't really have a limit for complexity. It kind of just we see it when we're playing it. There's run through. I've done playthroughs where I've said again and again that this game's too light for us, and it's kind of hard to gauge because it will vary, I suppose. But yeah, medium heavy usually. What was getting to the top of it? Like, I had a really good example in my head for a split second of a game that was really at the top of maybe a bit too much. Forge War, that's a game where it's really, really complex and there's a ton of things moving at once. That might be the time though that I'm thinking of. I will stop talking about that question. Not really a hard set limit, but I haven't tried any Splotter or Phil Eklund games. Who do you usually game with? Rachel, who was briefly on screen, or you can see her in the No Pun Included is the thing I was searching for. No Pun Included is UK Games Expo report. You can see her sitting next to me in the video. She is there as well. She's in the chat, but you can't see her. I usually game with her. Scott Peterson, any interest in Near and Far? I don't know. We got Above and Below and played it a couple of times and didn't really get that into it, really. And we'd felt that way about Artifacts Inc. and another big box game of Ryan Lockett's. And I thought that it was... I kind of thought at that time when we played 3 and we weren't really feeling it, that maybe maybe his games aren't for us, but the amount that I hear about, Islebound and Near and Far and stuff, everyone's just got Near and Far, I think, haven't they? And really excited about it. It makes me think that maybe maybe there's something wrong with me and I should try them again. So, Near and Far is on my radar. I will give it a go again. Because I do love I'm right in thinking it's similar to Above and Below, where it's got a storybook and things, or at least it's got things that can be used with Above and Below. But I really do love that idea in games of bringing the storybook in there and having that involved in the game. This War of Mine doesn't sound like a game for me, especially after the No Pun Included again video. But the idea that it's got this huge storybook where you're reading story segments and making choices, I really love the idea of incorporating that into games. It's good in Agents of Smersh or Tales of Arabian Nights, but that's the main focus of the game, where in Above and Below, it's just a part of it, and I really like how it's integrated there. Do you have a favourite game and game designer. As I said, I'm terrible with favourites, but it's probably Gloomhaven, right? It's got to be. I've played it, it's probably getting on to 60 times now. We've got 2 campaigns going, although our campaign's been a bit neglected. I really, really love Gloomhaven. It is just fantastic. It's a shame to lose after 2 hours and have to repeat everything that you've done, as someone started a thread about the other day. But there aren't really many downsides that I can think. For me, anyway, it's I knew what I wanted when I backed it, and it's delivered that and way more. I just love Gloomhaven. Favourite designer? I don't know if it's... although Isaac Childress designed Gloomhaven, which probably my favourite game, and Forge War, which is an incredible game as well. Only got 2 games though. It might be Uwe Rosenberg, just because of the sheer volume of games that I tend to just generally love. I loved Agricola. That was one of the first Euro games that we played, and Uwe Rosenberg games. Feast for Odin was my favourite game of last year, and just everything. Gates of Loyang, Auron Labora, Caverna, not really that much because we liked Agricola, but pretty much everything that he's done, I think. Well, farming simulation games that he's done anyway. I tend to love those. Stefan Feld as well, yeah. So kind of, not original answers, but yeah, Stefan Feld probably fits into that category as well, because there's not really many of his games that we've tried that we didn't like. I think there was the Builders Duel game I wasn't really much for, and the Luna was a bit too... we had to fight over the thing in the middle, so didn't really like Luna very much, but pretty much everything else from Stefan Feld we've tried we really, really love. That would definitely be Rachel's favourite designer. I think her favourite game's Trajan, I think I'm right in saying. She can correct me in the comments anyway. I've still to start my Pandemic Legacy group, given up on waiting, might just let it play 2-player. That is an advantage that we've got of these things like Gloomhaven, and when we were playing Pandemic Legacy, because it's just us two, if we are really excited about playing something, then we can pretty much always get it done, because it's just the 2 of us that need to agree. Whereas I can see that, well, we've got our second Gloomhaven campaign going with 4 people, and we've got a pretty good success rate of getting the nights on, but there is, as soon as 4 people are involved, if one person can't do it, you don't really want to do it without them. And especially with Pandemic Legacy, the full-on Legacy games are definitely best to try and do in a big group. So yeah, do it. If you can't get the group together, 2-player is brilliant. We did it 2-player and loved it. I might have answered that as my... See, I was a bit confused of, can I say it's my favourite game, Pandemic Legacy? We won't ever play it again. But the experience we had when we played those... I can't remember how many games it took us to get through the game, but just loved the experience of playing through Pandemic Legacy. It was fantastic. Love your run-throughs of older games like Rococo. Any chance of seeing more classics? What's in the queue? Well, at the moment, the queue is... Kickstarters and UK Games Expo games, but I do have a request list. I don't have fancy ways of linking them to you. They are on the videos. I'll put it into the chat actually. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? If I put the request list. There it is. That's a geek list that I've got on Board Game Geek, and you can add games to that if you'd like to see them. It will work better when you can see what I've got in my collection when I update all of that stuff. But there are a ton of games on there already requested, and I will be the first to admit, a couple of people have commented, but I will definitely admit that I've been really, really behind on that request list. I have only fulfilled one, I think. Kerala is the only request, and to be honest, that wasn't 100% on purpose. That was a little bit of kismet, because I was just doing it anyway and then realised that it was a request. But that isn't down to neglecting the requests, it's just down to time. If there are these brand new shiny things, or somebody has sent me a game, or if it's a Kickstarter, definitely there is a time limit to how long you can keep people waiting for. And especially these Kickstarters, I said this at the very start of the video, but I'll say it again just in case, because I see people get a bit fed up with maybe Rado sometimes, because they'll say he's doing too many Kickstarter videos, even though personally I don't think he is. And he's got statistics often to back up that he isn't doing too many, but all of a sudden I've just done, I think there's going to be about 4 Kickstarter videos in a row, which might be a bit too much for some people, but I would just say if you don't want to see Kickstarter videos, then just don't watch them for a little bit. I am doing normal playthroughs, behind the scenes. It's just that these have set dates and they need to be done by those dates. As for seeing classics, though, there is that request list. I will be trying to do things from it. I think Viticulture has been requested and talked about. A solo playthrough for some of the stuff from Viticulture and Tuscany will be the next one when I get around to that. But now we've got the Kickstarter going, and there's voting is going to happen as soon as the Kickstarter is finished. We're going to start having 2 votes per month. At least I think it's 2 votes is what I've said, so let's not change that. 2 votes per month on the games that I'll cover, and I'll definitely start putting requested games in those votes, or maybe even have one of the votes just dedicated to requested games to make sure that they happen. I don't know, but I don't know how the systems generally come up. It's not just going to be games that I fancy playing, because I don't mind. I'll do anything that people want to see. But yeah, the old games will get covered. Rococo, though, Rococo was done because the expansion came out. So the expansion was brand new. Like Shakespeare as well, I did a video because it was the expansion. So I don't think there's that many. That maybe around this time last year I went back to a few, like I did Sansuchi and things. And they're fun to do because I already know how to play them. I don't have to spend any time. I might have to refresh myself a little bit on them, but I don't really have to do as much work to learn a brand new game. But there will be other things queuing. What's in the queue, though? There is Reflorestation, as I've mentioned many, many times. I've not been paid to do it, obviously. That's coming up. Subterra is a playthrough that's coming up. As I said, Viticulture will be the next request that I do, because that seems to have had the most talk around it. Other than that, UK Games Expo games, there will be a poll going up tomorrow, I'll say. I won't guarantee that it'll get done tonight, but tomorrow definitely I will post everywhere the link to a poll where you can vote for the UK Games Expo games that you want to see first, basically. They'll all get covered eventually, but which ones do you want to see first? Rachel is here, yes. Okay. We do game with friends, that is right. What is the story behind the name Slickerdrips? This is I've been told that I need a better story for this. I need to lie when I'm asked this. Basically, there's just a song that's called Slickerdrips. It's by the White Stripes. It's a very short song, and it's 2 separate words in the song. I just really like how it sounds. But I have found from doing this channel that a lot of people, well, maybe it's the vocal minority, but a lot of people have said that they either hate the name or don't like the name, or at least think that it sounds disgusting, that it sounds horrible. And that was a bit of a surprise to me, because I really like saying it. It feels like a lot of weird sounds clashing together. But yeah, if the song, though, it's a really short song. The lyrics don't seem to have anything to do with the title. I don't really know what it means. But as someone told me, I need a better story for how I came up with it. Stefan Feld. I just see these random comments from Rachel. I think they made sense when we were talking about these things. But there's the request list. What is your day job? I work in a shop. A music shop. Not really very board game related, but yeah. But it's probably a good thing, because I was a lot more excited about music before I started working there. Other than Dominion, what other deck builders do you like? Loads. Really, really love deck builders in general. Just looking around quickly, Paperback I really love, because I like word games and that is a deck builder that involves them. I love Legendary, although we might have burned ourselves out on it. I'm not sure. Helionox was a recent one I really liked. Shadow and Crossfire. They're kind of not necessarily building up a big engine with your deck, but trying to work out what you need right now and building things up. Can I see any more just behind me? Dominion is just a given. What else was there? Was there something new? Super Hot was a bit of a micro deck builder, I think they said. I don't know, I tend to love loads. Let's look for big. Let's try and find my list and have a look. No, there's a lot about actually building decks, where outside decks. Not so much about deck builders themselves, though. You know, Vikings Gone Wild, that isn't one for us because there's too much fighting in it. But generally deck building is a really good thing for me, and that will be a big plus point for the game going in. There's a few games that I've noticed that I've heard people talk about deck building, like Great Western Trail and things, but it's just kind of a small element of it. It's not really the main thing, is it? Epic Resort is a really nice one, although we haven't played that for ages and ages and ages. Oh, I can't really see much further back from myself than that. But Harry Potter, yeah, that was a good deck building game. That was like Vikings Gone Wild. It's a really good introduction to deck builders, I think. Maybe if you've played a lot of them, and if you've played Dominion a ton of times and all sorts of others, it hasn't really got anything new. And I think the main problem for Harry Potter was it got a bit too long. The games were getting really long and repetitive just because you kept adding cards to these decks and things. But yeah, we played that and really liked it, just for it being Harry Potter related. I don't know if we'll get the expansion because I've sold the base game since, and we'd have to get that back to get the expansion, and it was hard enough to get hold of the base game in England, actually. I think they've got licensing issues or something around that. But yeah, the Harry Potter deck builder was pretty good. But I think, what time is it? It's coming up to 7 o'clock. I think we can finish soon. Because if I've caught up on questions, then I'll leave it there. And I think, oh no, is this page frozen? I haven't got the Harry Potter comment. I will refresh. Hopefully this doesn't start making noise. We played the Harry Potter one. So I think we're caught up. So that, I think, is enough for the live Q&A. I can do these. I've got this basic technology down of basically Rachel's phone is plugged in and is filming me with a special little adapter that will make this microphone work. But I can't control any sound or anything like that from it. I tried looking into how to make it work. I couldn't. Between my laptop and the camera and things, I think I need to buy an intermediary device so that we could film things. Because some people asked for live playthroughs and things. Would that be a stretch goal? And I don't know, because internet's a worry. The equipment I don't think we've got yet, although maybe we could buy it with the Kickstarter funds. I don't know though. It's not really that big an issue for me. The thing I'd like to do is, if I ever got another camera and I could get some kind of, the people that have the tripods that come out, the stands that come out so they can look straight down at the table, that would be really nice. I know that some people can't watch my videos because they get seasick or just hate the shaky camera, so it would be good to have the option. But for live streams as well, it would be good to have the 2-camera thing where you'd be able to see us playing as well as the game at the same time. Anyway, so yeah, there may be more of these in the future, but yeah, you can send your questions to me. I'm on Board Game Geek, Slickerdrips. You can send me questions, and I'll probably just answer them in a message anyway. I meant to talk about questions as well. I've been asked some questions loads and loads of times. I've been asked, especially in the last 2 weeks, are you going to be playing Too Many Bones? I've been asked that loads and loads and loads and loads. And maybe is the question. Maybe we saw it at the expo, but couldn't afford it. Maybe one day. I have since looked into it a bit more, and I'm a lot more excited about it than I was. It was kind of just on my radar vaguely because people were asking for it, but it may just be lust for components. But I'm really interested in doing it, but it seems a bit hard to get hold of and maybe a bit too expensive for us. But I am. I've got my eye out for it now. And that's another advantage. If you put stuff on the request list and I haven't got it, like there's Crisis and there was Anachrony as well, I will start looking out for these things as well if you put them on the request list. I can't remember the other pre-arranged questions that I have, but I think we'll leave it there. Thanks for joining me, everyone. The Kickstarter is still going. I don't really have a link for it right now. I will get you a link, just in case anyone wants to check out the Kickstarter. It seems weird to say all of these things of plug me, subscribe, like, and all of these things, but just do what you want, really. There's the Kickstarter link. We're still going. It highlighted my name because I said Slickerdrips, even though it was me saying it. Well, thanks very much for watching, everyone, and maybe I'll see you for another live thing some other day. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye. I think I'm going to have to get up now. This is a bit awkward. I think I'm going to have to get up to turn it off. Even though I've already said goodbye, I'm going to keep it going. I'm still walking. You can hear me. I think Rachel's coming to assist me, but I don't need assistance. I can turn it off. Bye.